Why, good to see you, Charon, mate. Just minding
What
my own
was that
business,
stream
taking in the
notification
sights,
you
and any work
got?
stuff you got some sort of wares for sale, and I'll just have a look around.
No, it's mostly just like clickbait. I was. No, no, I was gonna. It was pretty funny, at least to me. Oh my gosh, I need to fix that timer. Hold on. No, so pretty much it's been rainy here, like a while ago. The last few days, I guess. Not today, but it's been raining here, and so when it rains, like the worms come out of the ground, and so seeing the worms while I walk into work, I've been like prompted back to the time where I, you know, would play with worms. I liked worms, okay? I'd just go and play with them. But like I have to stop myself before I go to work because I see them on the sidewalk walking to my car and I just want to grab them. Anyway, I think they're drowning, you know? But thinking of like the worms, seeing the worms reminds me of the game called Worms. What you mean it's been gorgeous out? It's been gorgeous out. Like, you go outside, it's beautiful right now. So I'm fixing my timer. And so I've been thinking about like playing Worms again, and I don't know, I just really like the game Worms. Like so much so that it's like it's got me in this like nostalgia like place where I like think about what am I trying to say? I think about all the like the games that I played as a kid. So we got that, we got like Putt Putt, we got SimCity 3000, even fucking like the game Adventure Quest. Like just things like that. Like I still have access to like my Webkins account. It's on my laptop. You just want to talk. You said it's been raining. You lied. Oh, I mean, it was raining like 2 days ago, okay? And then that got me started thinking about the worms, okay? Rained over the weekend. I did also want to talk about worms like a weirdo. I like worms, okay? But no, it just got me like thinking about nostalgia games. I've been texting my dad and like my brother being like, hey, do you remember when we played this? Hey, do you remember what this was called? Hey, hey, listen, you know? Yeah, no, worms are great. However, I don't know if I'd actually eat worms. I don't know though. But it was also the thing that I wanted Dylan to remind me about on Friday and on Monday when I was playing last about the worms, you know, naturally. Just, you bring up worms in casual conversation, like how do you go about doing that, you know? So about those worms, like, what does that mean? Do do I have worms? Do you think I have worms? Like, does our cat have worms? Like, I don't know. But worms are neat. And in sort of like the same vein of worms, they're not really worms, but I was at Goodwill a couple weeks ago and I almost bought a new stuffed animal that, well, new to me, but like a stuffed animal that they had there that was a water bear. Little tiny like things that are like essentially like a germ sort of thingy. But it looked like it had a butthole mouth, and I sent a picture to Dylan. He's like, that mouth though. He said something. I don't know. It wasn't actually that. But it was worm shaped, worm like, except for it had legs. I don't know. Let's get back to the game, shall we? I need help. I am hurting for certain.
The infernal wares of the Stygian boatman Charon lie sprawled about. Available for sale to whomever would be willing.
But you ever just like think about worms? You know, I guess are maggots like cousins and related to worms? Are they a subspecies? Are they entirely different species? What about caterpillars? And then are caterpillars grubs? Are worms grubs? Are maggots grubs? Like, what defines a grub, you know? But also, what defines a worm? What makes a worm a worm? There's tube worms, there's silkworms, there's earthworms, there's giant earthworms. You can even classify sandworms from Dune. Mayhaps, perhaps, yes. What kind of worm is that? Terrifying? Worms. Anyway, and then I just had this thought. How about tapeworms? Oh yeah, ringworm. Funny thing about tapeworms, actually, is that the reason why like animals, like cats and dogs, like domesticated animals, get tapeworms is because their larva is like in fleas or like on fleas or whatever, and so if they happen to eat a flea, then it goes inside them and then hatches the egg, and then they get a tapeworm. You know? That's an interesting, terrifying thought. Ringworm is also terrifying, but more on worms. This whole like conversation about worms reminded me about in 7th grade. My life science class, we dissected worms. I believe they have 9 hearts. Dylan, do you remember when I went to Goodwill a couple weeks ago and I sent you the picture of that water bear and it had a butthole face? The water bear stuffed animal, and I almost got it because I thought it was cute. Well, I went back, like last time I was there, I looked to see if it was there. It wasn't. I was so sad because I really wanted the water bear. I am distraught. But yeah, no, funny. Don't stick your dick in that. It wasn't that actual hole. It just looked like a butthole. You can go to our text message and like look through the pictures or whatever. But I was gonna talk about how I want to like compost, right? If we like ever get a house or like a garden or something, I really like composting. And I wonder if like you put a worm in it in the compost bin, if it's self-sufficient, you know? Or if it would die. But I mean, also, why don't they have eyes? Oh, let's Google that actually right now. Do worms have eyes? They don't! Ears or nose. They have specialized light-sensitive receptor cells covering their skin that allow them to distinguish between light and dark. Oh. Why do worms come out when it rains. Because they breathe through their skin and need moisture to survive. Oh. Interesting. Anyway, worms are fascinating. But yeah, I said to the worm, I think they have like 9 hearts or 9 stomachs or something. But essentially, they're just like living in the ground. They wiggle amongst us, defecating and eating like their own shit. You know, they swim around in like their own fecal matter. You know. Also, they're used for bait, right? When you fish. However, there is a method to get them to stay on the hook, because if you just, you know, you have a little worm, right, and you just put it through the hook like right here, it's gonna fall off when you get a little nibble. But if you like thread it through the top of the worm, and so like this is the hook, and you like start threading it like through, kind of like what am I like? What am I trying to think of? Like, what am I trying to think of? So essentially, like, the hook is maybe a straw? I don't know. Anyway, you thread it starting at the tip, and then you just thread it through so it's like that. So that way, when the fish nibbles, it doesn't yank off the whole worm, just little bits and pieces. You know? You feel me? Feel me? But also, when you break off a segment of worm and you know you put it back in the soil or whatever after you're done like threading it onto your hook, it like still wiggles around. Like, why does it do that? Why? You know? You ever just like think about like why worms wiggle after you break off part of them? Kind of like, actually, now that I think about it, you know when like you know when like a lizard or a gecko, whatever amphibian is, are they amphibians? Reptile. Whenever they like lose their tails or whatever, right? Because their tails go back, it breaks off and then it like wiggles their tail. So maybe it's something like that. It still has like all the nerve endings in it or whatever. So it's just like waiting to die, quote unquote. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Hip brought up the worm because of my go live notification. So thanks for that, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk about worms that lasted a stupid amount of time that should not have happened, probably.
The risk is not to me.
Oh!
Yes.
Oh, but Dylan!
Then go.
You brought up tapeworms earlier, right? Fun fact about tapeworms, well, you guys might not find it fun. And you might not relate to what I'm saying. I had it! Anyway, when tapeworms are fixed in, like, formaldehyde, they're sort of, like, firm like a nerve. You can't relate to that at all. But let me see if I can find like a food or some other similarity between these two things. Oh, kind of like an al dente noodle. That's what they feel like, but maybe a tiny bit firmer in like formaldehyde. Tapeworms, that's what they feel like.
Hey room, I'm back.
I think if I had to find a similarity, I'll have to ask
lie in a perpetual
someone
state of utter disarray,
and see what their
despite
thoughts
his
are,
lord and master.
Oh come on, it's not that bad, is it?
and then get back to you guys.